Ag Matters is underwritten by Ag West Farm Credit. Ag West Farm Credit is a financial cooperative that provides financing, crop insurance, and related services to farmers and ranchers across the West. From small family businesses to large operations, Ag West brings the experience and financial know-how to help you grow your best future.
Welcome to Ag Matters, covering positive agriculture stories from across Alaska on Big Cabbage Radio.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ken Hoffman, host of Ag Matters. I'm a farmer out in Palmer. My little farm's name is Matsu Microgreens, where we grow, of course, microgreens year-round. And I'm also the executive director of the Alaska Farm Bureau. It's basically just a group of farmers that get together and network and try to advocate for each other. And if you're interested in something like that, you can reach out to me or visit our website at alaskafb.org. So speaking of advocacy, politics, things like that, we actually have a friend of mine here in the studio today, Director of the Division of Agriculture, Bryan Scoresby. Bryan, thanks for coming.
You're welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. So I think I want to start from the beginning of how you got into agriculture, why was farming interesting to you, and then how did you end up in Alaska, or were you born in Alaska?
No, I didn't have that privilege of being born here. My parents raised me in Idaho, outside of Idaho Falls. Grew up on a farm. I say I grew up in a dairy barn. My dad had a dairy, 30, 35 cows, depending on how many were dried up and how many weren't. Anyway, I just grew up in agriculture, irrigating, driving tractors, bucking hay, milking cows. I loved that life, and I didn't even consider doing anything else. When I got of age and went to college, I studied agriculture and have loved agriculture ever since.
Yeah.
Agriculture took me to Utah State University for a 4-year degree and Brigham Young University for a graduate degree. And then my career took me to Wyoming and to Nebraska. And from there, I landed in Alaska here in 1992, working for the USDA Farm Service Agency.
So what was your position at the FSA?
When I got here, it was district director. That position no longer exists, but things change in government.
Okay. Was it a more like agronomy degree? Was it financials?
It was financial. I loved the sciences when I was in college, and I took science-type courses. Even in my graduate degree, I took a soil science class, graduate level, and a animal science course, graduate level, because I loved them. Mm-hmm. And that was just part of my degree and the way I think. But mostly I studied on financial and management type things when I was at Brigham Young, and loved those too. But those sciences, when practically applied, make the management way better. Mm-hmm. You make sound decisions for reasons that why you use the management. Well, it's just sound because you have the background in science to do it. But I've always loved the management side, and that was a conscious choice of mine when I was going to school to study the management side of things. Mm-hmm. I had a brother he's retired now, but a scientist, got a PhD in weed science.
Wow.
And it's fun to talk to him even today about the agriculture things going on in the world and in the nation.
Yeah.
He looks at it from a science perspective. I look at it from a managerial perspective. It's just fun to compare.
Yeah, yeah. So you started at the Alaska FSA office in 1992. And then what was your career there? Because I know you eventually became director.
Well, I did. I was here for about 4.5 years, and there was a nationwide RIF, and I got let go. They just did away with the position of district director. Mm-hmm. And we looked at our opportunities, Mary and I, my wife, and she told me at the time, she says, Alaska's the best place we've been.
Yeah.
We're staying. And she says, you can find another career. And I'm really proud to say that her insight was a lot better. This is a great place to raise a family in Alaska. Our opportunities here have been phenomenal. From the day I arrived here, the day I could see opportunity everywhere you look. Mm-hmm. You know, growing up in Idaho, I thought it'd be cool to go back to Idaho and, amongst people I know, family, make a career, but I didn't get a job. And it's all established economy. People that owned all the land, there wasn't any land to buy unless you were a millionaire, and I didn't marry it. So we looked elsewhere, and that's why I ended up in Wyoming in a career. Got to Alaska, which I was proud to have. But after that nationwide RIF, I landed in the mortgage business as a commissioned originator, and I did that for 20 years.
Really?
As I packed my desk up as a district director and left that day, I remember turned around in the FSA main office here in Palmer, and I looked around and I said, Bryan, if you think clearly you can actually work things through the political world, and you may be able to come back here as the state executive director someday. I literally had that thought as I did. And in 2017, when President Trump was elected in his first term, I applied through and was selected and came back in 2017 to be the state executive director. It was a dream come true. Honestly, it was an honor of a lifetime to go back and serve the administration and to come back into agriculture, serve the farmers of this state.
Yeah. So how many years were you executive director of the FSA?
It was 3.5 years. All directors, there's a director in every state, but all the appointees have to resign on Inauguration Day when an incoming president comes in.
Yeah.
President Biden didn't keep us, so we all left. And I actually retired from Farm Service Agents with my prior time and current time. I could put in retirement papers, and I did. That allowed me as a federal employee to purchase health insurance on the employee at the employee price as a retired person. Not knowing what my future employment could be or would be, I had to have insurance to cover my wife and I. And so I went through that retirement process to get the insurance.
Okay.
So, but then you know, what was it? I was out for 2 years, and then the position at the State Division of Agriculture came available. So I applied for and was selected for this position where I'm currently serving the farmers here in Alaska.
Yeah. And what year was that?
That was 3 years ago, so we're 2023.
Okay. All right. Maybe tell us a little bit about your farm now on Fishhook.
Well, we've been raising 4-H animals forever, since our kids was old enough to participate. And we turned that into a farm, if you will, in 2004, raising some to sell. We'd have our kids' animals, and then we had 1 or 2 of our own to sell and put in our own freezer. 3 years ago, I was able to secure a lease from my neighbors and cut hay, 30 acres of hay, right around where we live. It was part of the old Oberg Fishhook Dairy hayfields, which I have done. I've done that for 3 years, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I was able to find used equipment from good farmers all across the state, put it to use. Had to use all my mechanical skills, which I took classes at in college, and fix them and bring them up to stuff. I mean, there was a lot. They were operational, but they could operate better if they just was simply maintained well.
Yeah.
And so I did all of that. It's just fun. I like driving tractors. You think about a lot of things when you're driving tractors, how to do things, how to do everything you want to do, and you figure a lot of stuff out. I mean, it's not boring to just sit on the tractor and go round and round and around a big field, because your mind's actively working out on issues, thoughts, problems, coming up to solutions.
Yeah. We often say in Farm Bureau that pretty much all of our resolutions at the national level came from a farmer in a tractor. I mean, there's something about being on a tractor, it gets your mind rolling, and you start thinking of things. You feel like you can solve all the world's problems sometimes.
It does. You know, I remember specifically that before I was going to college, I was working for a farmer in Idaho. This is a long time ago. And it was 1980, that summer. And listened to the radio, and he had a cab tractor, mine are open station tractors, but listened to the radio, and it was talking about the interest rate. The prime rate went up to 16%. And I have a little bit of a mathematical mind, and I thought 16% times $100, that's, $16 a year in interest. And I thought that seems kind of high, but not really understanding the full scenario of how that would work and how that would fit into the economy. I was new. I didn't understand it. I didn't think that way yet. But the first car I purchased was at a 21% interest rate. And now I've grown about that, but I mean, it was a $3,000 car at 21%. The payments was still about $120 a month.
Yeah.
But that was actually it seemed like a lot of money working a small paying job at the time.
Yeah.
And so I realized what 21% interest means.
Yeah.
And today, 21% interest is pretty hard to come by. You got to have a pretty good opportunity to be willing to pay that and risk that for your venture and a management scenario.
Well, talking about these loans and interest rates, this seems like a good segue to maybe talk a little bit about RLIF. Some people are confused. They hear the term in agriculture, but they don't really know what that means. And I know that's a program, or, maybe if you can tell us a little bit about it.
Well, and at the Division of Agriculture, we do have RLIF. It's the Agriculture Revolving Loan Fund, ARLF for short. And 4 years ago, I was actually appointed by the governor to serve on the RLIF board, the Board of Ag and Conservation. And I served there for a year before I was hired to be the director. And in that time, I argued vehemently to keep our interest rates low. Mm-hmm. Interest rates had been really low in the mortgage business for a lot of years. They're still historically low. And that advantage to many, many homeowners is huge, and it's advantage in business as well to have a low interest rate. Many banks and everybody was raising their interest rates as the economy changed and adjusted. And at the time we have, in the ARLF, we have a portfolio of about $21.5 million, and we had, I think, $8 million under loan. Mm-hmm. And so the other 13.5 million wasn't earning any interest. It's just there. Mm-hmm. And our ability at the time to attract new loans didn't seem to be all that high either. I don't know the reasons. I was a new board member, served for a year. But I said, let's keep our interest rates low, because it's an annual review. The board has to annually review the interest rates. I says, let's keep them low. And with that and a promotional, we can advertise our low rates, and we can put that $13.5 million to work and start earning some interest, because some interest is better than no interest.
Yeah.
And so the board followed my request and lead, and we kept them low. And then when I was hired as division director, we hired a new loan officer that was very aggressive, and she attracted a lot of industry and business. We have grown that portfolio now under loan to something like 17 or something million. And it changed our ARLF earnings from $250,000 to almost $600,000.
Wow.
So we put that money to use by an aggressive strategy of low interest rates. That's helped the ARLF, but it's also helped many, many farmers and families, industry to build a business. Mm-hmm. And those businesses are actively making money as well, paying their payments and building out agriculture and growing it. It takes three things, as we've talked about financing and capital is just one. It takes land, available land, and it takes a market and capital. Those three things you can build a business out of.
Yeah.
If you don't have land, you can't grow anything. If you don't have market, you can grow all you want, but you can't sell it.
Yeah.
That's a going nowhere project. And if you don't have capital to finance it, you can have land and the market, but no capital to grow it, to make it work.
Yeah.
It's a three-legged stool. You got to have all three. So anyway, we've worked on the ARLF hard. In my term here as 3 years as director, I'm really proud of how we've grown that RLF portfolio in the interest earnings, and that's contributing to grow the RLF program too. Anyway, we're really excited about where we're going and where we've been and how we got there.
What are some other things you guys are working at the Division of Ag besides RLF?
Well, we have a bunch of grants that we administer. We have a specialty crop block grant that's annually comes out of USDA. We've had some grants that are one-time things that have come and gone. We're closing up an infrastructure grant that we put out a year ago, and that one's been really fun to do. Some of those were equipment-only purchases for infrastructure things, and these were targeted to the middle of the supply chain businesses. So as a farmer, you wouldn't qualify. As a retailer, you wouldn't qualify, but someone in the middle who's transporting, who's processing, who's storing product, those are the businesses that qualify. Those monies got snatched up pretty quick. So we're working with those grantees now to finish their projects and close that out. But that was a one-time deal.
Yeah.
We had another one called Task, and it was a one-time deal, and it closed up last spring.
Okay.
Micro grants, we have a lot of those, but it takes a lot of money to administer it, and that's been a real challenge in the office because of the staffing situation and admin money that micro grants gives us. We're working for solutions still. We haven't got them yet, but we're getting closer.
Yeah.
We've made progress. We have to celebrate the progress.
Yeah.
We're excited about where we're headed with that for the future. We have lands program in the division. We identify farmlands to sell, The Nanatoe jacket up near Nenana was the latest and greatest one that we've put out. And that took years in the making because of a bridge that got built across the Nenana River that accessed
Yeah.
all of those lands. Then a road was put in. The first sale was in 2022. And then 2026 here, we're going to have another sale.
Okay.
There's, I think, 10 parcels that'll come up for sale,
Yeah.
along with 9 more parcels down in outside of Anchor Point
Yeah.
for this sale. We got lands identified in Nenana and elsewhere in the state for a 2028 sale and a 2030 sale.
Okay.
It takes resources to make these sales happen, too. We can go sell land if you can't get, as a farmer, you can't get to it. You know, you can have all land in the world, but once again, no way to get your product to market.
Yeah.
If you have a market,
Yeah.
it's not going to help you either.
Exactly.
So you got to have the infrastructure and roads, power to operate.
If you guys are curious about the Nenana project in particular, the poster child for that is, I would say, Tarn Coffee. He's doing an excellent job.
He has, and you know it's exciting because people like Tarn and his wife, they come in with a passion
Yep.
and a lot of energy.
Work ethic.
Works really, really hard, and he's growing a product, sweet corn, that's really, really fun and exciting. For a lot of Alaskan gardeners, you know, growing tomatoes is a challenge, and if you're considered real successful. If you grow sweet corn, you're extra successful.
Yeah.
And Tarn's growing it in the field. And last year he had it for sale through Three Bears Grocery. Charlie's Produce was his distributor.
Yeah. He did 10 acres.
Yeah, and
Amazing.
He'll do that or more again this year.
Yeah.
He irrigates it, fertilizes it well. And Tarn has been a passionate gardener, avid gardener, raising sweet corn in Nenana for many, many years. So the opportunity to then become a farmer and raise it at a farm scale was just huge,
Yeah.
exciting opportunity for him.
There's a lot of opportunity for agriculture for this entire state.
Everywhere you look, there's an opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, I've heard there's sometimes our farmers, they compete against each other. You know, if we could say that,
Yeah.
because someone makes a sale to say a load of hay somewhere, and another farmer may think that should have been my sale, and it creates some unfriendly competition, which I think is really sad because the opportunity is so great. We produce not enough for the whole market anyway.
Yeah.
A farmer here local in Palmer told me that Alaska produces about 1/3, or was it 2/3, I forget which, of the amount of hay needed and fed in the state every year. So a good portion comes in the state from outside. So if we can work in our hay fields as an example of one crop to grow more volume, either in yield per acre or expanded lands and more production, can take the market away from those who import. And we can grow high quality hay in Alaska.
Yeah.
We really can. Years ago when I first got here, I was talking to university extension people, and they says you can grow 4 ton to the acre of hay. You put enough fertilizer on and water, you can get 4 ton to the acre. The challenge is you can't dry it
Yeah.
to make it a bale. And since then, these bale wrappers have come in, plastic wrappers have come into play, and you can put up high moisture hay and wrap it.
Yeah.
So you could have 4 ton to the acre, 5 ton, wrap it in a wrapper, and it's fantastic animal feed.
Yeah. Haylage.
Haylage.
Yeah.
When my cows, when I feed a bale of that, they attack it. It tastes good to them.
It's sweet. It smells good.
It's sweet, it tastes good, but they attack it and they gorge themselves on it, and they grow really good. They finish out really well feeding it too. So
Well, that's great. Maybe we'll finish off this show with maybe some exciting things that you guys are working on, or exciting things that you see, just agriculture in Alaska as a whole. What's been interesting? What excites you?
what excites me?
Yeah.
Once again, I go back to the opportunity. We have a new grant I'm going to put a plug in for right now. It's for our peony growers.
Okay.
It was for weather-related losses in 2023, 2024. And it comes to us through the Farm Service Agency. It provided the funding for it. But we actually just got the approval paperwork this morning.
Oh, good.
Well, yesterday, but being Seward's Day, we weren't in the office.
Yeah.
So we're reviewing that right now to sign, and we'll probably get that signed before the day's out.
I know a lot of folks that are interested in
And
that.
then we'll be working to put that out, and it's specifically targeted to peony growers.
Yep.
So if you're a hay grower like myself or microgreens like you, we're not eligible
Yeah.
for this grant. It's to reimburse and help for weather-related losses. So
Yeah.
That's an exciting one coming up, and we look forward to putting that out with our peony growers. And you never know what opportunity is going to come, but things in the legislature too. Everything takes money.
Yep.
When we've put out these lands for sale, I've advocated in my 3 years, if we're going to sell new lands, we need to have a road, we need to have power, so our farmers that buy in these areas can be successful. They can drive the road to get their products to market, they can get their inputs into the farm.
Mm-hmm.
Power is not just a luxury, it's a requirement.
Yeah.
There was a lot of agriculture built off generators, but generating your own power can be done, but it's expensive in comparison.
Yeah.
It'd be 50, 75 cents a kilowatt hour versus 22 or something that we pay here in Palmer, when we're hooked up to the grid. So it can be done, but it's costs more.
Yeah.
And there's many people who have. I was at a farm up in Delta area, and they was giving me a little tour, and we drove past their fueling station, and next to it was a little Honda generator, because that part of his farm is off grid.
Yep.
So I said, so when you bring a tractor up, you have to start that generator, have power? He said, absolutely. Done it for 40 years.
Yeah.
That's how they filled their tractors and everything was they'd pull up to fuel up, they start the generator.
Yep.
And a real modern fueling station, but they have their own little generator that they run only when they're fueling up because it's not hooked up to the grid. It's the grid brings a lot of convenience, speed, and time is everything in Alaska with a short growing season. You got to get in the field early. You got to get out early before the snow flies.
Yeah. It sure sounds like being director of agriculture you're working with a lot of things that aren't necessarily agriculture. Most people wouldn't be thinking of finance and power grids and all of these things and land sales. They would think that you're out in the soil all day.
Well, that'd be fun, but I chose the management side in college, not the science side my brother did.
Yeah,
so.
That's right.
And the sciences are exciting. We have, out at our plant materials center, we have, 15 people or something works out there, but half of them are agronomists by training. So you can get an agronomy type degree. Unfortunately, UAF doesn't teach that, but go outside, get an agronomy degree, come back in state and work in Alaska as an agronomist, working in the soil, working with plants, doing agronomy things, and live in Alaska as well.
I envy Casey. He's got a cool job.
He does. So does everybody out there. And there's not a more beautiful place to work than out at the Plant Materials Center. You got Pioneer Peak you're in the shadow of Pioneer Peak all day, all year. Gorgeous, gorgeous place.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Bryan, for coming in. That was great. That was a great update.
Thanks again for inviting me.
Yeah, well, thank you. And thank you, everybody, for listening to Ag Matters. Goodbye, everybody.
You've been listening to Ag Matters, covering positive agriculture stories from across Alaska on Big Cabbage Radio. Ag Matters is a production of Radio Free Palmer, recorded at our studios in Palmer, Alaska. For more information about this program, email manager@radiofreepalmer.org.